to start things off,
Okay.
just I told you about the project.
Sure.
It's simple. But when you were a freshman in college, 18 years old, 19 years old, what did you think you wanted to do for the rest of your life?
When I got to Mississippi State, I was in a rock band.
Okay.
And I was under the impression that I was going to be a musician. I just didn't quite have the talent that I needed to really do it. But it wasn't just that. It was also the dedication of the time. We actually opened up a chain of retail stores when I was a freshman. We had a comic book store. And bam! So we keep going.
Yes, sir. That's fine.
Keep going?
Yes,
fine.
sir. It is.
College was weird for me because I had a retail business, and when I started, I was undecided when I started, and went into GBA shortly after that. But actually had the week after I graduated from college, which was in '92, we opened up our second store.
Okay.
And within about 3 years, we had a chain of 5. And so I actually thought I knew what I wanted to do when I was in college. About 6 months in, like in January of my second semester, but I always knew I wanted to be self-employed.
Yeah.
But I grew up in a family that the majority of my family was self-employed. So,
Okay.
But it led to other things.
So what did you major in?
I was GBA, General Business Administration.
Okay.
Which
Awesome.
is the main reason I majored in that is because it didn't have a language requirement.
Really?
Yeah. At the time, you didn't have to.
I think they make you do that now.
I expect they should.
Yeah, I
They
think
should.
I have to.
Yeah. But I looked down the list of choices and said, "Ooh, that one I don't have to take Spanish."
Yeah.
But now you should definitely take Spanish.
I like that.
Okay.
So you said your second semester of freshman year is when you figured out you
Well,
wanted to be.
we had a warehouse that had already been rented for a business that had failed, and we had 6 months on a lease, and we had to figure out how to pay for it.
Okay.
And my dad said to me, "Figure out how to pay for this."
Okay.
And so my brother, who had been here for several years, said, "Hey, the comic book store will work," and it took off. And that's actually kind of what happened to me. It wasn't necessarily the path of least resistance, but it was what was working. We opened up a retail store, and within a very short period of time, we were actually making money, and it ended up, becoming something.
Now, what's going on with that now?
We sold them off years ago. It was a tricky business, and I actually learned the biggest thing that I learned from that business is that I'm not a strong enough manager to have stores in different cities.
Okay.
And I learned pretty quick that was not my skill set. It's possible today that I could do that again, but everything I own now is based out of Sarpent.
When did you get involved with Gundog Supply?
My parents started this company in '72, and we came back around to it. Rob and I still had comic stores in '97. In '96, we opened up Copy Cow, and then in '97, Rob put them online in late '96, early '97, and by 1998, it had gotten out of hand. They couldn't handle the volume, and I came back into the business in '98.
Okay. Awesome.
And it's been my main focus since then.
Since then?
Yeah.
Awesome. So for just wrapping things up,
Sure.
What kind of advice would you have to someone who has an idea but doesn't know exactly what they want to do?
I think it depends. I mean, are you asking about being self-employed?
I'm just asking about in general. If
Well, okay, I'll take 2 different routes.
All right.
Okay, my oldest son is interested in real estate.
Okay.
Okay, he thinks he wants to be a real estate guy. Okay, great. He's 17. He's a junior in high school, but he thinks that's what he wants to do. Well, this summer he's going to intern with a friend of mine who is a real estate agent, and he's going to spend a good chunk of the summer doing that, because I think that a lot of people, I think this happens where you go, oh, well, I want to be, my wife wanted to be an accountant when she was in school, and she majored in accounting. Well, after she got out of school, she found out she didn't want to be an accountant because, she liked numbers at the time, but she didn't enjoy the actual work of it. And she did it for a few years, and now she doesn't. I think it's a gigantic mistake for people to be majoring in stuff that they really haven't seen the reality of what that job is.
That's how I was.
Yeah.
I started off in biological sciences.
Sure.
And
What does that mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I thought I was going pre-med route. I thought I was doing that, and then I realized I got a strength for talking and selling and stuff, so maybe that's not how I need to get into that.
Well, I think that too many people go in from this side because everybody, they're looking at these young kids and going, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? What do you want to do?
Exactly.
And I think it's more important to kind of figure out, okay, well, this is actually how I want to spend my time. How do I backtrack that? And go, okay, well, I want to spend my time doing this, and if you don't, then, you can end up somewhere, and you've got 4, 5, 6 years in getting a degree in something that you really don't want to, be involved with. So I think you're better off to figure out, okay, this is how I'd like to spend my time, or these are the problems that I'd like to solve, or this is the the mission that I'd like to be involved with, okay, where do I end up with that? Now there's another side of that. What does that job pay?
Exactly.
Okay. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you money's the most important thing in the world, but it is a it's a factor. And you need to sit down and figure out, okay, well, I want to live where, and to live there, it costs, we had this conversation today. You want to live in San Francisco, that's great. It's not cheap. You want to live in Starkville, it's a lot, So you got to kind of sit down and go, okay, well, I'm interested in doing this. Does it pay what I, how I want to live?
Mm-hmm.
And if it does, great. And if it doesn't, great. Find something else or go about it in a different way.
Yeah.
Self-employed is a whole different ballgame. Okay, if you want to be self-employed, do it now. Don't wait until you're married and you got a kid and you got a mortgage and you have other responsibilities. The reason that I was able to be successful, my brother was able to be successful being self-employed, is that we started it when we were in college. And making nothing was what I was used to. And when I graduated from college, I was making nothing, but that's what I was used to. And so I had several years in there where I had the ability to, to not have to make a lot of money and to spend my time the way I wanted to spend it and develop something. You start, I have more respect for my father. He started when he was in his, late 30s, early 40s and had 2 kids and a mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't.
Yeah.
So if you want to be self-employed, start young.
Start young.
That's my take on it.
Get it going.
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay.
That's about it.
Is that it?
That's it. I appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.